You sit down to do the work that actually matters. Your mind is already somewhere else before you start. 3 tabs are open before your hands touch the keyboard. A thought about an unanswered email pulls you sideways. You read the same sentence 4 times without absorbing any of it. The clock keeps moving, but the work does not. You start to believe you have quietly lost the ability to think deeply. Every productivity guide promises a fix, and none of them seem to work for long. What nobody tells you is that your scattered mind is not actually the real problem. The real problem is hidden underneath, and once you see it, deep work becomes possible again. Most people think becoming an heir looks dramatic. They imagine champagne, luxury. People think becoming a millionaire looks dramatic. So they try harder, they download apps, they blame themselves when nothing actually changes. But willpower is not what is failing here. Something deeper has shifted inside your nervous system. Your attention is not weak. Your attention is overloaded, fragmented, and quietly exhausted. This is the part most productivity advice never mentions. Scattered focus is a symptom, not a flaw. When your mind feels scattered, it is telling you something important. It is asking for a different kind of care. Picture this. You finally sit down for 90 minutes of deep work. Within 4 minutes, you feel an itch to check something, anywhere but here. That itch is not laziness. That itch is your brain searching for relief from internal pressure. Most people think becoming a millionaire looks dramatic. They imagine champagne, luxury cars, massive houses. Your brain evolved to scan environments for danger and opportunity. It was never designed for stillness. When you ask it to sit with one idea, it interprets that as unnatural. It rebels quietly. Modern life makes this rebellion 10 times stronger. Every screen has trained you to expect novelty. Each scroll, each ping, each tab delivers a tiny chemical reward. Your brain remembers all of it. So when you try to focus on something slow, the brain feels starved. It begs for stimulation. But there is something even more surprising about this pattern. The scattered feeling is not random. It tends to appear at the exact moment your work becomes meaningful, right before the breakthrough. This is not a coincidence. Your nervous system is wired to flinch away from cognitive effort. What nobody tells you is that deep work requires you to pass through discomfort, not avoid it. The scattered mind is a doorway. Most people turn around right at the threshold. They mistake the discomfort for a sign that they are not built for this kind of work. But that discomfort is the work. The fog is the first layer of the focus you are looking for. If you have ever felt this and walked away, you are not weak. You are simply unaware. Here is what science quietly reveals about your scattered state. The brain has 2 competing networks. One network handles focused attention. The other handles wandering thought and self-monitoring. When you sit down to work, both networks try to run at once. They cannot. They fight. The losing network does not go quiet. It creates the static you feel as scattered thinking. This is why pure willpower fails so often. You cannot force 2 networks to merge through effort. You can only switch dominance through specific conditions that signal safety to the body. What neuroscience discovered next changes everything. Focus is not summoned, focus is permitted. Your brain will not commit to deep work until it believes nothing urgent is being missed. This is why notifications destroy focus, even when silent. The possibility of one is enough. This is why a messy desk fragments thought. Each visible object is a small, open loop. This is why your mind drifts to that one unanswered message. It is an unresolved threat to the system. Scattered focus is your brain refusing to commit until the environment feels closed and safe. Think of your attention as a small flame. Every open loop is a draft of cold air around it. One draft alone will not extinguish the flame. 20 drafts together will flicker it constantly. This is why you can focus on a single task in a crisis, but not on a calm Tuesday afternoon. In a crisis, every other loop temporarily closes. Only the urgent flame remains. Focus becomes effortless. Most people try to push through this resistance. They lose almost every single time. The real method is to close the loops first, then invite the focus, not the other way around. Stay with me. This next part will explain something about your brain you have never articulated. Every open loop in your life leaks a small amount of attention. You do not feel each one alone. You feel the total. That total is what people call a scattered mind. It is not that you cannot focus. It is that there is no attention left to focus with. So the answer is not more discipline. The answer is far fewer leaks. You close loops by writing down what is unresolved before you sit down to work. You close loops by deciding when you will deal with the things you cannot deal with now. You close loops by giving your nervous system a clear promise that nothing will be forgotten. When the brain trusts the promise, the static drops. Focus arrives almost without effort. This is the part nobody teaches because it is too quiet to sell as a productivity hack. But it is the real mechanism behind every deep work session you have ever had that worked. Think back to your best focus sessions. They likely happened when life felt unusually settled. A clean morning, a quiet office, a weekend with nothing pressing. That was not a coincidence. Your brain was finally free of background loops. The attention was simply available to use. You do not have to wait for those rare conditions. You can engineer them on any ordinary day. The ability to engineer focus is the single most underrated skill of the modern century. Everyone is fighting for your attention. Almost no one is teaching you how to take it back. This is the work behind the work, the quiet practice that makes everything else in your life possible. Careers are built on it. Books are written through it. Real thinking only happens inside it. Comment a single word below it. This is the first time someone has explained your scattered mind this clearly. Just write the word focus, and I will know this reached you the way it was meant to. Share what has been quietly stealing your attention lately. Sometimes naming it is the first step. Now let us talk about how to actually do this when your mind feels broken into pieces. Begin with a 5-minute capture session before you start any deep work at all. Open a blank page, write every loop pulling at you, every task, every worry, every undone thing. Do not solve them, just see them. The act of writing closes the loop temporarily. Next, decide one thing. What is the single piece of work that matters most in the next 90 minutes? Not 3 things, not a list. 1. Your scattered mind cannot hold more than one true priority. Then remove every visible competitor for your attention. Phone in another room. Tabs closed, door shut. This is not about being strict with yourself. This is about removing the silent loops your brain tracks. What is coming next is the exact method that fixes this for almost everyone who tries it. Start the session with 3 minutes of doing absolutely nothing. No phone, no music, no movement. Most people think becoming an heir looks dramatic. They imagine champagne, luxury cars, massive houses. Those 3 minutes allow the 2 competing networks in your brain to settle into one again. You will feel restless almost immediately. That restlessness is the network switch happening in real time. When the restlessness fades, begin the work, not before. The transition is the actual magic. For the first 10 minutes, expect bad work, expect resistance, expect the urge to leave the chair. Do not leave. Stay in the chair, keep your eyes on the page or the screen in front of you. This is the doorway you have walked away from 100 times. This time, you stay through it. By minute 15, something shifts. The fog thins. The thoughts begin to line themselves up. By minute 30, you're inside the work. The scattered mind is gone for now. You did not fix it through force. You fixed it by giving it the conditions it always needed. If you have experienced even a glimpse of this before, you are not broken. You were never broken. You were operating a powerful instrument without the manual. Now you finally have the manual. There is one final truth that nobody tells you about deep work and a scattered mind. The scattered feeling will return. It will return tomorrow. It will return next week. It always does. That is not failure. That is the natural state of an attention system in a very noisy world. Deep work is not a permanent state you achieve once. It is a practice you return to. Each return gets a little easier. Each session teaches your brain that focus is safe and rewarded. Think of it like training a nervous animal. You do not yell at it. You build trust slowly. Your attention is that animal. It has been startled for years. It needs patience, not punishment. Every time you sit and stay, you tell it the world is safe enough for depth. Over weeks, the animal stops flinching. Over months, it begins to come when you call it. Over time, the scattered baseline lifts. The fog becomes thinner. The doorway becomes wider. But only if you stop treating scattered focus as a personal failure and start treating it as a signal. A signal that loops are open. A signal that the environment is loud. A signal that you need silence. This reframe alone changes the way you sit down to work for the rest of your life. You stop fighting yourself. You start listening to what the scattered feeling has been trying to say. Tonight, before you sleep, write down every open loop in your mind on a single page. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, sit for 3 minutes and do absolutely nothing. Then choose one piece of work that matters and stay with it for 30 full minutes. You will feel the scattered pull. Stay anyway. Watch what your mind does on the other side of it. That is where the version of you that does the work you care about has been quietly waiting. If this gave you a new way to see your own mind, subscribe and stay close to this channel. This channel exists for people who refuse to keep losing their best hours to a world built to scatter them. Your attention is not weak. Your attention has been pulled in 1,000 directions by a system that profits from your fog. The fog is not who you are. The focused mind underneath it is who you have always been. Close the loops, sit in the silence, stay through the discomfort. The deep work is on the other side. Your hours are not infinite. Your attention is the last real currency you own. Spend it on what matters. Spend it where the deep work lives. Welcome back to the hours that actually belong to you.